Welcome North 2, where supers exist and comic book TV talk is the norm. It's your boy MoeCrosby. I'm going to be doing American Gods today, so you know what? Sit back, relax, and as always,
welcome to the planet.
I don't know where you guys have been, but if you haven't been here, I've been telling you American Gods is going to end at 8 this season, and yo, they did that final episode have everything in it for you, answered questions, laid groundwork for season 2. I mean, this was the best thing you could have asked for a season finale, and they gave it to you all in this one episode. So what I'm gonna do in this episode on this breakdown for you is do the season 1 full breakdown for you, while also doing the episode 8 season finale breakdown. Okay, let's get into it. The episode is called Come to Jesus, and this episode features the last god that we're gonna meet this season, Ostara, or as you all may, if you have seen the episode, as you all may have known her, as I've said before in my preview for the season, the goddess of Easter, played by the lovely Kristen Chenoweth. I mean, she was just so astonishingly beautiful in this episode that it just overshadowed everything. I mean, she was also really great in it. So you know what? Let me not gush too much about her. Let's get into the episode so I can run through the season for you, okay? This episode, in American Gods fashion, opens up with one of the best character focuses that we've ever seen. We get to really focus on the goddess of love, Bilquis, and get to find out where she was, who she was, and why she's doing what she's doing now. So they paint a very amazing picture. And who do they get to tell the story? I mean, we've seen Ibis tell a story, tell most of the stories this season, but they get none other than Mr. Anansi Orlando Jones to tell this one. I mean, he was fantastic in his storytelling, and he tells the story of a goddess, pretty much, who has gone through the test of time, who no one could have ever seen. Like, none of the princes of her time could see her, even up to where she was. Like, she was just she was the pretty much. And she's going through life, and she's going through times, and she's adjusting, and she's making do, but finally gets to a time where love is lost, everything is lost. And at that point in her life, which I think in 2013 is what they tell us, she's lost everything. She doesn't even remember who she is. We get to see her temple being raided and just being destroyed. So if you remember in one of the episodes where she walks into a museum exhibit and she sees, or she imagines, herself in, a garb, that literally happened in this episode where she was dressed up as the goddess. It was just beautiful. Like, her character focus was really done well. And I think of all the character focuses, Bilquis has definitely been my favorite character this season. And her character focus was awesome. We get to see Miss Technical Boy walk up to her and offer her a way out, a rebranding. So again, she's one of the old gods that the new gods have gotten to. So now we get to see her, and we get to see why she's doing what she's doing and how she's getting herself back and her powers back. So now, fast forward from that, Wednesday and Shadow go meet Easter and try to recruit her into what they're doing. At first she's not buying it, but she's giving him an ear, so she's listening to him. But Wednesday turns around and lies to her about what happened to Vulcan in the previous episode. She goes, well, Vulcan fashioned me a sword. He's with me. He was with us, and then they turned around and killed him because he was with us. Lied. Straight up bold-faced lied. Shadow looks at him and is like, yo, I know, but Shadow being his man doesn't say anything to him, which is really good because Shadow is very loyal in this episode. We get to see what Easter's worship looks like, and now we get to see that the goddess of Easter is sharing her holiday or her worship with another character that we all know and we all love. As a Christian, you should know him. Regardless, you should know him in the time. Easter is being shared with Jesus. So resurrection and Easter have been combined into one thing. And so that's how Easter still maintains her powers, is because during the celebration of Easter, people still pray to her in a very messed up way. But it's just the way it works for her. Finally, Matt Sweeney and Laura Moon get to the location of pretty much where Shadow and Wednesday are, but where Matt Sweeney had told Laura, I know someone who could resurrect you and all that good stuff. And so they finally meet up and interrupt Wednesday and Easter talking. They meet up and it's like, oh hey, by the way, this is I need a favor from you. Matt Sweeney's telling Easter, can you please help me resurrect a friend? I would like her undead. And Easter's like, sure, I could do it as long as you get out of here because I have guests. Referring to Wednesday and Shadow. Wednesday, so now it's like, okay, look, I'm gonna help you, but I need to find out why you're dead or why it is that you're dead. She's Laura's like, I don't know, but and so she peers into her and she looks into the finality, of her final moments, and she sees she sees Sweeney and she asks Sweeney, so do you still work for the guy? Sweeney's like, yeah. Apparently, it is, from what we saw last week, we know that Sweeney was involved in her death. We don't know why, but we're going to find out why. And the why is we needed Shadow. I don't know why we need Shadow, but we just need Shadow. He just needed someone. And someone who was going to be strong enough for him and someone who was going to be strong enough to believe in him and have faith in him. Shadow is now recruited by Wednesday because he has nothing left and no one left. Again, Wednesday is a con artist, and we have never really seen Wednesday unleashed, but we finally get to see him unleashed in this episode. So we move out of that scene and we go back into the Easter's party. The new gods have invaded. You have Media in there, and while Media and Easter are talking, Media's like, oh, I'm helping you, so why don't you come join us? Easter's like, how are you helping me? She's like, well, I mean, we televise a lot of Easter stuff. We make I make Easter possible, and so I feel like you owe me. She's like, no, I don't. And so they're finally talking, and Wednesday decides to show up with Shadow. So it's almost like a god showdown because now Mister Technical Boy's out there and his henchmen out there, and it's looking very dim for our good guys. Everyone is kind of a good guy here because we don't know everyone's like hidden motive, but everyone is kind of a good guy here. And so Wednesday's plan to Easter was, if you take all of it away, you take the spring, you take the harvest, you take all of the green and the color away, they're going to pray for you because they need it back. And that's how you're going to get your powers back. And they're going to remember again the old gods because that's how everything, we gave to them. And so now they've taken us for granted and we continue to give them. But what's going to happen is once we take it away, they're going to want to, they're going to remember. That's Wednesday's ultimate plan. Mr. World even makes an appearance in this, and Crispin Glover again delivers everything really well. Again, the show relies just not on its characters, but on its visuals. So it was a lot of visually heavy scenery in this. They all show up, and it's almost like I said, a god showdown. Wednesday's on one side, Easter's on one side, Media's on one side. Everyone is it's looking really dark. But Wednesday decides to show out. He finally unleashes, and at this point, Shadow's like, "Who are you?" And Wednesday's like, "You really want to know who I am? You really want to know who I am? I am Odin." And in the most dramatic Odin scene ever, if you know what Odin is like, or if you've read anything about Odin, he's pretty dramatic, and when he wants to show himself, everything is done with a flair, and he does that. And he talks to East, and he destroys Technical Boy's henchman, and Mr. World says to him, "Oh, this is going to be a war. This is definitely going to be a war, and a war that you might not survive." Easter does her thing and takes all of it away. Takes the spring, the colors, the greens, all of it, and shows her power. And everyone is like, "Yo, this is amazing." I mean, this was the most beautiful scene I've ever seen in this show so far. So I was like, like watching, like, this is crazy. This is really good looking. And all this is happening, turn around, and now Laura has found out the why she's dead and why Wednesday wanted her dead, and walks up, while all this big dramatic thing has happened, and Shadow is finally believing, and he's finally believed, and he has faith now. He turns around and is like, oh, and she comes in and interrupts, like, hey, I like a word with my dead husband. End scene right there. Cut. We now meet Bilquis going to where the big war showdown is gonna happen, and they end it right there. So the show leaves off with two important questions. Well, for me, I don't know about you guys. Two important questions for me. What, if anything, is Laura's appearance at that moment? What is that going to do with Shadow and Wednesday? They finally gelled. Wednesday, Shadow finally believes. What is that gonna, how is that gonna affect everything? Two, what is Technical Boy and Mr. World? What are the new gods' real plan? Because they haven't really, showed their plan. They've just tried to help rebrand the new gods. They just want to control everything. But what is their plan, and how does it involve Bill Queese? Those are the two questions I have. In the comment section, you can let me know what your questions are, and if the show kind of helps you out and answer questions. So now I'm gonna move into the season, the whole season as a whole. Just a couple points I'm going to point into. The story, the characters, and the visuals. The visuals were awesome. This is one of the shows where I believe where the visuals really carry again a lot of the weight. This show has been distributed again into three things: the story, the visuals, and the characters. Where the visuals, the story, and the characters all carry as much weight, but every one of them is still doing what they need to do to keep everything together. So the visuals are A1. They're 100% great. The story was very well done. It weaved in again with stuff that's going on right now in the real world. There's a lot of weaving and a lot of showing in this. And also, if you turn it around on its head, the characters again, the show does one thing where it asks the characters to carry again most of the weight. And when one or two or three characters on air on screen, you get to see them, and you also get to fall in love with them. So I really love what the show has done in terms of those three things. Those are the three things that stood out for me. Again, in the comment section, let me know what stood out for you in the show. Let me know if you loved it. Let me know if you're excited for season 2. Let me know who your favorite characters were. Mine, obviously, you guys know mine is Bill Queese. Just again, going through her character focus and what she's done in the season. But Shadow and Wednesday were up there too. So let me know who stood out for you. Let me know how they stood out for you. Let me know if you're excited for season 2. Let me know if you will be watching. I will be going more in depth in this on the podcast, so be sure to check out for that. Again, the podcast is on SoundCloud, Earth2, Comicast, and you can catch us on social media. I will be sharing some news and some other things going on during the week on Earth2 Comicast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Check us out there because there are some giveaways that we do, movie tickets and screeners and whatnot. So check that out. Again, it's been your boy MoeCrosby, and I've been talking American Gods with you. I'm gonna be looking forward to doing this with you guys again next year for season 2. You know what? If you haven't seen the show, go watch it, and while you're at it, go fill your long boxes.